Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, let's discuss the Selenium important interview questions which are recently asked in almost all the interview questions, and these are the frequently asked interview questions. Okay guys, if you are looking for similar study materials and complete end-to-end interview preparation kit, please do check out for the link in the description or in the comment section. It's really helpful for clearing the interviews and also helpful for working in real-time industry level projects. Okay, so let's get started with the video. So I'll go with only the questions, guys, as already I have given the answers effectively. Just explore it. Okay, so let's get started. So initial question is about what is selenium and what are the different forms of selenium, what are some of the advantages of selenium, what are some limitations of selenium, which all browsers or drivers are supported by Selenium WebDriver? Can we test APIs or web services using Selenium WebDriver? What are the testing types supported by Selenium WebDriver? What are the various ways of locating an element in Selenium? What is an XPath? What is an absolute XPath? What is a relative XPath? What's the difference between single slash and double slash in XPath? Which XPath you will prefer to use and why? What is the difference between absolute XPath and relative XPath? How can we inspect the web element attributes in order to use them in different locators? How can we locate an element by only partially matching its attributes value in the XPath? How can we locate elements using their text in the XPath? How can we move to nth child element using XPath? What is the syntax of finding elements by class using CSS locator and similarly by ID using CSS locator? How can we select elements by their attribute value using CSS locator selector? What is the fundamental difference between XPath and CSS selector? How can we launch different browsers in Selenium WebDriver? And what is the use of driver.getURL and driver.navigate.toURL command? Is there any difference between these two? How can we type text in the text box element using Selenium? How can we clear a text written in a text box? How to check a checkbox in Selenium? How can we submit a form in Selenium? Explain the difference between close and quit command. How to switch between multiple windows in Selenium. What is the difference between getWindowHandle and driver.getWindowHandles method? How can we move to a particular frame in Selenium? Can we move back and forward in browser using Selenium? Is there a way to refresh browser using Selenium? How can we maximize browser window? How can we fetch a text written over an element? How can we find the value of different attributes in like name, class, value of an element? How to delete cookies in Selenium? What is an implicit wait in Selenium? What is an explicit wait in Selenium? What are some expected conditions that can be used in explicit waits? What is a fluent wait in Selenium? Explain its syntax or give the syntax. What are the different keyboard operations that can be performed in Selenium? What are the different mouse actions that can be performed? Can you write a code to double click an element in Selenium? Can you write the code to right click an element in Selenium? How to mouse over an element in Selenium? How to fetch the current page URL? How can we fetch title of the page? And how can we fetch the page source? How to verify tooltip text? How to locate a link using its text in Selenium? What are desired capabilities in Selenium WebDriver? How can we find all the links on web page? What are some commonly encountered exceptions in Selenium? How can we capture the screenshots? How to handle the drop downs? How to check which option in the drop down is selected? How can we check if an element is getting displayed on a web page? How can we check if an element is enabled for interaction on a web page? What's the difference between driver.findElement and findElements method or commands? Explain the difference between implicit and explicit waits. How can we handle window UI elements and window pop-ups using Selenium? What is a robot API? And how to do file upload in Selenium? How to handle HTTPS website in Selenium, or how to accept the SSL untrusted connection? How to perform drag and drop? How to execute JavaScript and in Selenium executor, JavaScript executor in Selenium? How to handle alerts? What is HTML unit driver? How to handle hidden elements? What is page object model? What are the advantages of page object model? What is a page factory? What is an object repository? What is a data driven framework and keyword driven framework? And what is a hybrid driven framework? What is Selenium grid? And what are the advantages of Selenium grid? What is a hub and node in Selenium grid? Explain the line WebDriver driver equal to new Firefox driver. And what is the purpose of creating a reference variable driver of type WebDriver instead of directly creating a Firefox driver object or any other driver's reference in statement? WebDriver driver equal to new Firefox driver. What is a TestNG? What are some advantages of TestNG? What is the use of testng.xml file? How can we pass parameter to test script using TestNG? How can we pass parameter to test script using TestNG? How can we create data-driven framework using TestNG? What is the use of TestNG listeners? What is the use of listener annotation? Okay. How can we make one test method dependent on another using TestNG? How can we set the priority of test cases? What are commonly used TestNG annotations? What are the common assertions provided by TestNG? How can we run test cases in parallel? Name an API used for reading and writing data to the Excel files. Name an API used for logging in Java and logging in automation. What is the use of logging in automation? What is invocation count in TestNG? How can we run a test method multiple times in a loop without using any data provider? What is the default priority of test cases in TestNG? What's the difference between soft and hard assertion? How to fail a TestNG test if it doesn't get executed within a specified time? How can we skip a test case conditionally? How can we make sure a test method runs even if the test methods or groups on which it depends fail or get skipped? Why and how will you use an Excel sheet in your project? How can you redirect browsing from a browser through some proxy? How to scroll down a page using JavaScript in Selenium? How to scroll down to a particular element? How to set the size of a browser window using Selenium? Can we enter text without using send keys? Explain how will you log in into any site if it is showing any authentication pop-up for username and password. Explain what is group test in TestNG. How to run failed test cases using TestNG. What is a stale element reference exception and how to handle it. What are the different XPath functions that you have used in your project. What will happen in background when execute new Firefox driver. What is the below statement means and why? How do you handle inner frames and adjacent frames? How to click on an element which is not visible using Selenium WebDriver? Difference between verify and assert. Okay guys, similarly I have covered almost all the questions. Okay, so please explore this document for remaining questions and let me know if you have any queries or questions. Okay, so it's completely based on Selenium and these are the Java programs you can expect in the interview. So on add to matrix and array list and to find a given number is even or odd number and binary search program and some of the logical programs and almost all the unique programs, guys. Okay, bubble sort and counting the words, count the character occurrence, greatest of three numbers, and many other. Okay, linear search. Okay, many other programs. Okay, so explore this document and prepare for interviews. And similarly, like this, there are multiple programs and scenario based questions and complete end to end interview questions asked in almost all the companies. So I have uploaded all the preparation materials along with detailed answers and effective study notes. Please do check out in the interview preparation kit. The link is given in the description and also in the comment section. It's really helpful for clearing the interview and also helpful for working in real-time industry level projects confidently. Okay, so thank you so much for watching my video. All the best for your upcoming interview.